what is the performance assessment? Why I need the performance assessment? Because if I want to check which computer is faster or which computer do its work more efficiently, so how can I say this? Which computer will be faster and which computer is doing a job in a much better way? So the process, the process, or we can say the parameters which we use to compute the performance of our CPU is nothing but our performance assessment. So if I talked about performance assessment example in our daily life, yeah, in our daily needs, then we said if we are running a program on two different desktop computers, then we would say that the faster one is the desktop computer that gets the job done first. The faster is one which gets the job done first. That is the fastest computer. If we talked in the respect of two different desktop computer. Similarly, if we are running a data center, if we talked about in the sense of data center, then there are several running jobs submitted by many user, means there are several computers which are doing so many jobs. Then which one is the faster? So the faster one is this that completed the most of the jobs during a day. In a day, which will complete most of the job, most of the job that that system perform, that will computer will said be the fastest one. So if I talked about an individual computer, if I have an individual computer and I want to check the performance of that computer, then what in which parameter which we are interested? We are interested in reducing the time between the start and the completion of a task. That is nothing but the execution time. Once the process, or we can say the job is started, and then the time with what with the job is completed, that the time duration is called the execution time. And the main focus, and our main focus is to what if I want to get if I want to have the better performance, then what we have to do, this execution time will be much less and less. If the execution time is less, then my performance is very, very good. So what is the relation between what comes the relation between the performance and the execution time? So simply I can say that the relation between the performance and the execution time are nothing but they are inversely proportional to each other. That performance is inversely proportional to execution time. So if I said there are two system X and Y, if there are two computers X and Y, then if the performance is X is greater than Y. If I said that the performance is, but that the performance of X is greater than performance of Y. What that it means? That the performance of X is greater than performance of Y. That means 1 over execution time of X is greater than 1 over execution time of Y. From this relation, I can conclude that execution time of Y is greater than execution time of F of X. Okay, that means if the performance of X is better, that means it will complete the job in the much less time as compared to the time taken by the computer Y. Okay, got it. So this is a simple relation, that is relate the performance and the execution time. So for calculating the performance, what is the main parameter? What is the main parameter? Is our main parameter is our execution time. If I got the execution time, then I say about the performance of our system. Now, if we talked about the execution time, then our all computers are governed by a clock. That is the main thing, by a clock. All computer systems are governed by a clock. Basically, that determines when event take place in the hardware. When event take place in the hardware. That is determined by what? That is determined by clock. So these particular time interval, discrete time intervals, are called what? Clock cycles. And the rate at this and the rate of these clock pulses is known as clock rate. That is given in your question. That is the clock rate. What is the clock rate or clock speed? Like example, it is given as 4 gigahertz or like this 4 gigahertz. So we have to convert it into like simple, that is the frequency or speed in terms of hertz. So like here it is giga. So giga stands for 10 to the power 9. So giga stands for 10 to the power 9. So 4 into 10 to the power 9 hertz, that becomes a frequency or clock speed. Okay. Now, as we know the simple relation between the frequency and the time, as I know that f is inversely proportional to 1 by t, that is the time and frequency relation. So if I know the clock rate or the clock speed, then I simply calculate 1 by clock speed is equal to what? Which is the that is called the clock period. This is nothing but the inverse of the clock period. So I can say that in the question, if you have clock rate, then we can directly use the clock rate, and if we want the clock period, then the inverse of the clock rate gives me the clock period. So hope these terminologies are clear to you, that what we are using, we are using what we are using uh, one minute. Okay. So what we are using, that what is the clock and what is the clock cycles and what is the clock rate. So to compute the execution time, what I needed what are the number of clocks. Okay. So the next main parameter which we'll use to calculate the execution time is nothing but CPU execution time for a program is calculated by CPU clock cycles for a program. If I have CPU clock cycles for a program, total number of clock cycles required for a program, and if I know the clock cycle time, one clock cycle time, then we simply multiply the total number of clock cycles multiply with the clock cycle time, we will get CPU execution time. Okay, as I said previously that the clock cycle time is inversely proportional to the clock rate. Is inversely proportional to the clock rate. That is nothing but if I know the clock rate, then that is inversely proportional to clock time. So this formula can also be written that CPU execution time for a program is equal to CPU clock cycle for a program divided by clock rate. CPU clock cycle for a program divided by clock rate. Once I know the total number of clock cycles and divide by the clock rate, then we get the execution time for a program. Now, if I said about the program, then the program is nothing but what? Program is a collection of instructions. Program is nothing but a collection of instructions. So if I want to calculate the total clock cycle for a program, what will I know? I have to calculate, from where we get this clock cycles for a program. So we get the clock cycles for a program by calculating. If I know instructions of a program, what are the instructions required for a program? Suppose I will say that the one program have 10 instructions. So there are 10 instructions for a program. So this factor is 10. Now I said multiply average clock cycles per instruction, means what are the average clock cycles for each instruction. If I said that one instruction take on an average 2 clock cycles, if I said one instruction take on an average 2 clock cycles, then how many clock cycles taken by 10 number of total 10 instructions? So how will I calculate? So simply I will calculate total CPU cycles is equal to number of instructions multiply by average clock cycles per instruction. So I will got 20 clock cycles. So this is my total clock cycles for my particular program. That will be used over this formula, that CPU cycles for a program, that is this number is divided by the clock rate, which gives me the execution time. So this average clock cycle per instruction is nothing but the average number of cycles required to instruction to execute, is also written as CPI. In the forward session, you will see this term more frequently, CPI. So CPI is nothing but the clock cycles per instruction. What are the average clock cycles per instruction required to execute this clock cycle? Okay, so we have to remember nothing but one term. What is the execution time for a program? That execution time for a program will be calculated by how many clock cycles required for a program multiplied by clock cycle time. Simple. So if I call this formula in a more general way, then we can write simply that that CPU time is equal to number of instruction, that is instruction count, multiply by average clock pulses per instruction. What are the average clock pulses per instruction? And multiply by clock cycle time. What is the time for the clock cycle? And this clock cycle time is fixed for a particular processor or a particular system. Okay, so we have, as I told previously, that clock cycle time is inversely proportional to the clock rate. Then we can also use this formula. The CPU time is also equal to instruction count multiplied by CPI divided by clock rate. These two formulas are basically used as per the question. If the question says given as a clock rate, then I can use this formula to calculate the execution time. If the system says, if the question says you have given clock cycle time, then I simply use this formula. Or you can you have to remember only one type of formula, because the second one will be derived from the first one itself. The clock cycle time is inversely proportional to clock rate. So these are not the two formulas, they are the one formula, but we can write over clock cycle time or we can write over clock rate. inversely proportional to each other. So I think this is the clear formula for you CPU time. How will you calculate the CPU time? So let's start the numerical problem to understand more clearly. So let it discuss the first problem. First problem said, this is my first problem. What is said? It said that a compiler designer is trying to decide between two code sequences for a particular computer. A compiler designer is trying to decide between two code sequences for a particular computer. The hardware designers have supplied the following facts. What are the facts? For a particular high-level language statement, the compiler writer is considering two code sequences that require the following instruction count. So these are the hardware facts that were provided by the hardware designers. What are these facts? Key on this system, whatever the system given, there are three types of instruction class. One is A, one is B type instruction, one is C type instruction. And what are the average clock cycles for per instruction? For A type instruction, the average clock cycle is 1. For B type, that average clock cycle is 2. And for C type, average clock cycle is 3. Now, there is a compiler designer who is trying to decide between two code sequence. Means now the compiler designer write two code sequence for a particular program. The code sequence C1, it says that it takes A type instruction 2, B type instruction 1, and 2 C type instruction. Similarly, the code sequence C2 takes 4 A type instruction, 1 B type instruction, and 1 C type instruction. Okay, by using these type of instructions, this compiler designer written two codes. One is code sequence C1 and one is code sequence C2. Now, what the question says, what we have asked, which code sequence execute the most of the instructions? So which code sequence execute the most of the instructions? Which will be the faster? Which will be the faster? And what is the CPI for each sequence? Means we have to calculate the average clock pulse cycle, average clock pulse of for each code sequence. We have given average clock pulses for a particular instruction class. Now the question said you have to calculate average clock pulse cycles for each code sequence of C2 as well as C1 as well as C2. Okay, so let us start. Let us assume that we have given the two cases, that we have given this instruction class, that is the hardware requirement, and these are the code sequence which will get by the compiler designer. So what I am doing here, I am first calculating for code C1. So if I talked about for code C1, so what we'll have for code C1? For code C1, we have to calculate how many total cycles required for this code sequence. How many total cycles? Now, how can I calculate this factor? If I want to calculate the total cycles, total number of cycles required for total number of clock cycles, where I have used cycles word, and that is it is similar to the clock cycle. Okay, so the total number of clock cycles required for this C1 code sequence, that is what? That is two A type instruction. How many? 2. Now, what is the average clock pulse for this A type instruction? That is 1. So how many clock cycles? When I want to calculate the clock cycles, then what will I do? I will simply do this 2 multiplied by this 1. This 2 multiplied by this 1. As it is, plus this B type instruction. How many instructions are there? Only 1. And what is the average CPI for this type of instruction? This is 2. So 1 into 2. Similarly, for C type, there are 2 instructions, and for each C type instruction class, there is a CPI 3. So what is the total number of clock cycles for C type instruction? That is 2 multiplied by 3. So if I talked about the total complete clock cycle for this code sequence, then what will I write? The total cycles is equal to what we have calculated, this 2 multiplied by 1 plus 1 multiplied by 2 plus 2 multiplied by 3. So what is the result? That is 10. So hope you understand how will I calculate this code sequence. The total number cycle for the code sequence 1. That means what are the instructions given multiplied by CPI for each particular instruction. Okay. So we have 2 A type instructions. So 2 multiplied by 1 plus 1 multiplied by 2 plus 2 multiplied by 3 is equal to 10. So this gives me total cycles. Why I am calculating here total cycles? Because I want to calculate the CPI, the CPI for this code sequence, both code sequence. So how will I calculate the CPI? CPI is what? average clock per instruction. So if I know the total number of clock cycles required for this sequence and divided by the total number of instruction, then I will get the average clock per instruction. So for that part, I have calculated first portion, that is total cycle. Total cycles is equal to this 2 into 1 plus 1 into 2 plus 2 into 3 is equal to 10. Now the second part is what I required. What are the total number of instructions required for this code sequence C1? What are the total number of instructions? So what are the total number of instructions if I want to calculate? So it will take 2 of A type plus 1 of B type plus 2 of C type. And what are the total number of instructions? The total number of instructions are simply 2 plus 1 plus 2 is equal to 5. So these are my total number of instructions. Similarly, now I want to calculate the value of CPI. I can easily calculate the value of clock per instruction. Means what are the total cycles for a particular required for a particular sequence and divided by the total number of instruction used in this sequence. So now the third portion is the CPI. So CPI is nothing but the total cycles divided by the total instructions, and total cycles are where 10. So 10 divided by 5. So 10 divided by 5, here we get what? Here we get 2. So 10 divided 5 is equal to 2. So this is the way how we calculate the CPI for a code sequence C1. So firstly, we have to calculate the total number of clock cycles for this code sequence. So how will we get? Multiplying by the given instruction with its CPI. Okay, then add all these instructions. Then total instruction, we can simply add the total instruction. Then CPI, the total cycles divided by the total instruction, that is 10 by 5 is equal to 2. Hope it is clear. Similarly, we have to calculate the CPI for the code C2. So I think you are enabled to understand. So we can easily do for this code sequence C2. So how we can do for C2? The same sequence. So for code C2, firstly we calculate what? Total number of clock cycles. So total number of clock cycles, how will we get? How will we calculate it? Similar. What are the type A instruction required here? 4. So 4 multiplied by CPI, that is 1, plus what are the B instruction it used? That is 1. So 1 multiplied by 2 plus, then what is the C type instruction? C type instruction is 1 multiplied by 3. So what is the total cycles? That is 4 into 1 plus 1 into 2 plus 1 into 3. So that means I get total cycle is equal to 4 into 1 plus 2 into 1 plus 3 into 1, that is equal to 9. Then what is the second factor we have calculated? That is nothing but the total number of sequence. So the total number of total number of instructions. So the total number of instructions required for this sequence is 4 plus 1 plus 1. That means 4 plus 1 plus 1 is equal to 6. Total instruction is 4 plus 1 plus 1 is equal to 6. So these are the total instructions. Now the third portion is what is the CPI. So CPI said CPI is equal to total cycles divided by total instructions. So total cycles are 9 divided by 6, that is equal to 1.5. So total cycles oblique total instruction is equal to 9 by 6 is equal to 1.5. So in this manner, we will calculate the both code sequences CPI. Now, if I talked about the question, then the question said which instruction, which code sequence execute the most instruction, which code sequence execute the most instruction. Okay, so which code sequence execute the most instruction? Now the answer is clear that which code instruction. So we have calculated the total instruction executed by the code sequence 1. This is nothing but 2 plus 1 plus 2, that is equal to 5. And what is the code sequence C2? That is 4 plus 1 plus 1, that is equal to 6. So which execute the most most instruction? That is code sequence C2. So the first answer is which code sequence execute the most instruction? That is C2. Similarly, we have calculated the CPI for each sequence. So we have calculated the CPI for each sequence. Already shown. Now, which will be the faster? Which will be the faster? Which will the faster? Faster is the one which takes the less time to execute the instruction. Okay, which takes the less time. So which takes the less time? So if I talked about which takes the less time, then total cycle is equal to 10, total instruction is equal to 5, and CPI is equal to 2. Okay, or for code sequence, the CPI is equal to 1.5. So we can say that the faster one is which take the less execution time. So less execution time, how will we calculate the less execution time? Means instructions. So in the here that faster is C2. So here is the faster is C2. We can easily say that the since the code sequence execute the most instruction, that is C2, and which will the faster? C2, because it takes the less execution time. Okay, so hope it is clear your problem number one, which will the faster and which code sequence execute the most sequence, and how will you solve the these types of problem? How will you calculate CPI for a particular uh, given question? So let's proceed. Let's try another question. But before that, I have another factor that is called the MIPS, millions instruction per second rate. That is called MIPS rating. So the rate at which instruction are executed is nothing but this is called MIPS, millions of instruction per second, is calculated by the formula. What are the total number of instruction divided by execution time multiplied by 10 to the power 6. Now, as we know the formula for this execution time from my previous slide, as I told previously, that how we'll calculate execution time, that is nothing but the instruction count multiplied by average clock pulse instruction for instruction divided by the clock rate. If I put this execution time formula over there, then we have cancelled this instruction count by instruction count, and this formula is simply written as clock rate divided by CPI multiplied by 10 to the power 6. So as in the previous question, we understand how we calculate the value of clock pulse per instruction, means how will we calculate the values of CPI. So once I know the value of CPI, and in the question, if you have the given this clock rate or clock speed or clock time period that is inversely proportional to clock rate, then I can simply calculate this MIPS rating. Okay, so I think these two formulas are clear now. So we can now take the question in which we will practice the question in which we can calculate CPI together with MIPS and the execution time. All these things we are calculated. So let's discuss the another problem. That's we have taken the problem number 2. That is, consider two different machines with two different instruction sets, both of which have a clock rate of 200 megahertz. Now see that two machines with two different instruction set, these are the instruction set given in the question, and which have a clock rate of 200 megahertz both. And both machines have same clock rate, that is 200 megahertz. Okay, now the following measurements are recorded on the two machines running a given set of benchmark program. That is, what are the instruction types? So for machine A, we have these four types of instructions, or this is the given data that arithmetic and logic instructions are 8 million, load and store are 4 million, branches are 2 million, and others are 4 million. Now for each instruction count, you have cycle per instruction, that is CPI for a particular instruction. Similarly for machine A, and similarly this is a machine B. Now this is a array typing again machine A, but this is a machine B. So determine the effective CPI, MIPS rate, and execution time for each machine. Okay, so we have to determine effective CPI. So how will I calculate the effective CPI? Now what is the CPI? CPI is clock per instruction, means total. We have to calculate what? We have to calculate total number of clock cycles required for this type of machine, this machine A. What are the total number of clock cycles required? And how will I calculate total number of clock cycles? That is instruction type multiplied by its CPI, and then sum all these multiplication, then we get the effective CPI as we done previously. So for this, for easiness, I have done in a different format like this. I can use this table, and for the solution in this table, I have made this instruction type. These are the instruction count given. These are the cycle per instruction, and in the same table, I have inserted another column which gives me cycles in instruction. Means if I have eight arithmetic and logic instruction, and each instruction takes one cycle per instruction, then how many total cycles required for arithmetic and logic instruction? These are 8 multiplied by 1. This gives me 8 cycles in your arithmetic and logic group. Similarly, what are the total number of cycles in our load and store group? This is 4 multiplied by cycle per instruction 3, that gives me 12. So in the similar way, the branch group gives me 2 multiplied by 4 is equal to 8, and others group, that is 4 multiplied by 3 is equal to 10. So if we summed about, if we going to add these four type of cycles, then we get the answer 40. So what does this 40 represent? This 40 represents that machine A, which uses 4 types of instruction, and each instruction have this CPI, and this is the number of instruction uses for this machine A, then what are the total number of cycles for machine A? That is 40. So if I want to calculate the CPI for machine A, how will I get this? So for CPI, we want to calculate total number of cycles divided by the total number of instructions. So here the total number of cycles are, so first part is for machine A, if I want to calculate CPI, then total cycles divided by total instructions. Okay, so the total cycles divided by total instruction gives me the result that what are the total cycles? 40. 40 divided by 18. So 40 divided by 18 gives me 2.22. That is the CPI for this machine. CPI for this machine A. Similarly, now the next part of the question said calculate MIPS. So now what is the MIPS formula? MIPS formula says clock rate divided by CPI multiplied by 10 to the power 6, as I showed in your previous slide. Okay, so we require clock rate. Now, as in the given question, if I talked about the clock rate, then in the given question, clock rate is 200 megahertz. So CPI we have calculated. So if I talked about this MIPS formula, so clock rate we have given, CPI we calculated, multiply by 10 to the power 6. So simply I will use this formula and calculate this MIPS rating. Okay, so how will I calculate this MIPS rating? So for this MIPS rating, so for MIPS, we require clock rate divided by CPI multiplied by 10 to the power 6. We have the clock rate from the given question, that is 400 megahertz. So if I write 200 megahertz, then this is 200 multiplied by 10 to the power 6, because it is megahertz, and the megahertz, when we convert megahertz into hertz, then it is multiplied by 10 to the power 6. So 200 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 divided by 2.22, that is the CPI, multiplied by 10 to the power 6. After solving this, we get the value approximately 90 point something, which I write over here 90. That is the MIPS rating. Means this machine have a MIPS rating, means this machine execute 90 millions of instructions per second. Have a capability that is execute 90 millions of instructions per second. Now, the third factor we have to calculate is, what is that the third factor? The third factor is execution time. So we have to calculate the execution time. Now, what is the execution time? Execution time, what is that execution time? Means total instructions multiplied by CPI. Total instruction multiplied by clock per instruction. What we I get total cycles. Actually, I want to calculate total cycles. So here I also have this total cycle, that is 40. So what is the formula for execution time? That is total cycles multiplied by cycle time. Now in the question, we have given clock rate. So what is the relation between cycle time and the clock rate? Clock cycle rate? That is nothing but the inversely proportional. So I can write this formula as total cycles divided by the cycle rate or clock cycle rate. So simply I have total cycles, that is nothing but the 40. 40 divided by the clock cycle rate, this is nothing but the 200 megahertz. So if I put the values over there, then 40 divided by 200 into 10 to the power 6, it gives me the answer 0.2 into 10 to the power minus 6 of second, which can be write as 0.2 microsecond, because this 10 to the power minus 6 represents the unit micro. Either you can write 0.2 microsecond, or we can simply write 0.2 into 10 to the power minus 6 seconds. So hope you have an understanding how will you approach the question. In the question, you have to ask if CPI, then you have to calculate the total cycles divided by the total instruction. This gives me CPI. Then I have calculated MIPS, and then I have calculated the execution time. Okay, so this is in this question we have the two machines. We have two machines, machine A and machine B. The both are the different instruction count and the different cycles. So we have to calculate CPI, MIPS, and execution time for each machine. So this calculation we have done so far is for machine A. This is for machine A. Now in the similar manner, we have do this for machine B. So we see this also calculation also, so we get a better understanding and better practice. So if I talked about the machine B, so now this is the table for machine B I have taken from the question. Machine B arithmetic and logic instruction count is 10, cycle per instruction is 1, then cycles in the instruction. How many cycles in arithmetic and logic type instruction? That is again 10 into 1 is equal to 10. So I have again inserted a column which calculates the total cycles for a particular instruction type. If I have said 10 arithmetic instruction and it will take one CPI, that is one clock per instruction, then how many clock cycles for a particular arithmetic and logic group? That is 10 into 1 is equal to 10. Similarly, 8 into 2 is equal to 16, 2 into 4 is equal to 8, 4 into 3 is equal to 12. So I will get total cycles in instruction is 46. Now we have to calculate the first factor for machine B is CPI. CPI is nothing but total cycles divided by the total instruction. So total cycles, how many total cycles we have? We have 46 number of clock cycles. 46 clock cycle divided by 24. So 46 by 24 we get 46 by 24 is equal to 1.92. That is my CPI. That is my CPI. Okay. So now the next part is MIPS. MIPS. What is that MIPS? MIPS is nothing but the formula is clock rate divided by the CPI multiplied by 10 to the power 6. So once I calculated the CPI, I can simply use this formula which asks clock rate divided by the CPI multiplied by 10 to the power 6. So now in this clock rate is given in my question. In question it says 200 megahertz. Again it is written as 200 into 10 to the power 6 divided by 1.92 into 10 to the power 6. That gives me approximately value of 104 point something. That means this machine B is 104 execute 104 million instruction per second. Can execute 104 million instruction per second. Okay. Then the third factor is execution time. What is that? We have total number of instruction cycles, total cycles, and multiply by cycle time. So we have the clock rate. So again, we write the formula total cycles multiplied by cycle time is equal to total cycles divided by the clock cycle rate. Again, by putting the value, total cycle is 46, and then we have this 46 divided by 200 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 is equal to 0.3 into 10 to the power minus 6 of second. So I think we have done the same question. In the same question, we have done the two types of machines. So now you will get somewhat understanding how we calculated the CPI, how we calculated the MIPS and execution time. Another question on the same type for the better practice friend. So consider that another question. Let us take the problem number 3. So the problem next question is a benchmark program is run on a 40 megahertz processor. Now what is that? 40 megahertz is what? This is nothing but the clock rate. 40 megahertz processor is nothing but the clock rate. So once I put this value 40 megahertz, so how can we write as in the previous one? 40 into 10 to the power 6, because this is a megahertz and we have to write 10 to the power 6 hertz when we convert megahertz into hertz. Now this executed program consists of that is over 1 lakh of instructions. That is over 1 lakh of instructions execution with the following instruction mix. How much type? Integer and arithmetic are 45,000. These required cycle per instruction is 1. Data transfer is of 32,000. Required clock cycle per instruction is 2. Floating point is 15,000. Control transfer is 8,000. So if I total these all, then we get the 1 lakh of instructions of different types. And each different type of instruction have different CPI. That's why they are categorized into the different portion. Okay. Now the same thing we have to calculate. Determine the effective CPI, clock cycles per instructions, MIPS rating, and the execution time for this program. So again, as I done in the problem number 2, I will make for CPI, what are the total number of cycles required. So for total number of cycles, again, I make the table for this solution that this is the instruction type, these is the instruction count, and these are the CPI for each particular instruction. So here we calculate cycles in a particular instruction. If I talked about integer arithmetic type, so integer arithmetic says it has an instruction count of 45,000 and it will take cycle per instruction 1. So we get cycle in instruction is equal to 45,000. Okay. Similarly, the data transfer group 32,000 multiplied by 2 is equal to 64,000. Then floating point, that is 15,000 into 2 is equal to 30,000. Then control transfer is equal to 8,000 into 2 is equal to 16,000. Then we get the total cycles in this program. What are the total cycles? We get sum of these 4 and we get 1,55,000 is my total number of cycles to execute this type of program, consists of these 4 instruction types. Okay, so first part is what we have to calculate the CPI. So if I talked about the CPI, then what is the CPI? CPI said we have to calculate the total number of cycles divided by the total number of instructions. So we have total number of cycles 1,55,000 divided by these 1,000 total instructions. So we'll get CPI is equal to 1.55. So that is my CPI. The next part we have to do, that is nothing but the MIPS rating. So the MIPS rating formula said clock rate divided by CPI multiplied by 10 to the power 6. So we have the clock rate given in the question, that is nothing but the 40 megahertz, and CPI we have calculated. So by putting these two values over there, we get 40 into 10 to the power 6 divided by 1.55 into 10 to the power 6, that is equal to 25.8. Now the third part is execution time. So how will you calculate the execution time? Execution time is total cycles multiplied by cycle time. Now here again we have clock rate, that's why this cycle time will be written as divide by clock rate, means inversely proportional to the clock rate. So total cycles divided by cycle rate, that gives me the execution time. So I put the value of total cycles is 1,55,000 divided by what is the cycle rate, clock cycle rate is nothing but 40 megahertz. So 40 into 10 to the power 6, that gives me the answer 3.87 multiplied by 10 to the power minus 3 seconds, which can I also write 3.87 millisecond, because it is 10 to the power minus 3, and 10 to the power minus 3 can be written as and be abbreviated as millisecond. Okay, so this is the simple solution for a given problem, how we can calculate CPI, MIPS, and execution time. For your practice, again, I have considered another problem. So consider another question, like question number 4. This says a new microprocessor was designed and tested for performance. This microprocessor requires 2, 4, or 8 machine cycles. Now this is machine cycles or a clock cycles to perform various operations. 45% of his instruction take 2 machine cycles, 40% takes 4 machine cycle, and 15% takes 8 machine cycle. Means we have this new microprocessor that was designed for performance. It will take 45% of instruction take 2 machine cycle, 40% take 4 machine cycle, and 50% take 8 machine cycle. Now I have to calculate average CPI for the microprocessor. So for average CPI, what we have to calculate? We have to calculate what are the total number of cycles divided by the total number of instructions. So if I say total number of cycles, then how we will calculate it? We will calculate 45% multiplied by this 2, 40% multiplied by 4, 15% multiplied by 8. So that gives me the total number of cycles. And similarly, total number of instructions. So total number of instructions 45% plus 40% plus 15%, that means 100%. That means if I take the about in percentage, then we write as 100. If I don't consider the percentage, then we write as a 1. So we will see the form in the solution. And the second part says, what is the clock frequency required for the microprocessor to be a 500 MIPS processor? Means now here it is given as a MIPS rating. Then we have to calculate what is the clock frequency, that means the clock rate, by using that MIPS formula. Okay, so we'll start again. I have made the table that what is the instruction type, what is the instruction count, then what is the machine cycle, and what is the cycle for particular instruction required, total cycles for particular instruction. So here it is table that I have already done in the question number 2 or in question number 3. Again, in the same manner, I have prepared a table that is instruction count, then cycles per instruction required, then how many cycles are in this particular instruction count. So if I take 45%, so here I have write 0.45, and this 0.45 required 2 cycles per instruction. So how many total cycles are required? That is 0.9. Similarly, the next group 40%, so that is 0.5. 0.5 multiplied by 4 is equal to 1.6, and the next group we have 0.15 multiplied by 8 is equal to 1.2. So if I total these three values, then I will get 3.7. That means 3.7 cycles this microprocessor totally required. And this 3.7 divided by total number of instructions is 1. So we can simply calculate our CPI, that is total cycles divided by total instruction, is nothing but 3.7 divided by 1. So 3.7 divided by 1 is equal to 3.7. So hope it is simple. And the second part we have to calculate is what? We have to calculate the clock rate. So from clock rate, for clock rate, I have written here that MIPS formula is said MIPS is equal to clock rate divided by CPI multiplied by 10 to the power 6. Now this time I have this MIPS rating. So what we have to calculate from here? We have to calculate from here this clock rate. So this clock rate is calculated by, if I want to calculate this clock rate, then clock rate is equal to what? Then clock rate is equal to MIPS multiplied by CPI multiplied by 10 to the power 6. Then is equal to MIPS value is given in the question, that is 500 multiplied by 3.7 multiplied by 10 to the power 6. And after solving this, we get 1850 into 10 to the power 6. That 10 to the power 6 is written as in megahertz, because this is a rate and this will frequency, it will its unit is hertz. Okay, so we have a clock rate of 1850 megahertz. So I think we have taken us